So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the next slide is going to be how to get to WebReg. And so basically you're going to go on chartinglink.ucsd.edu and you're going to click on Chartinglink Tools at the very right-hand side. Then once you click on there, you're going to have this page come up. You're just going to click under Classes and Enrollment Tools, click WebReg Access, and that will take you straight to the portal. So the process is really simple. It's just logging in, planning your classes, and then enrolling. But we do want to emphasize that planning your classes and enrolling are two separate things. You're not enrolled into a class until you physically click enroll. So just because you have your classes planned, that doesn't mean that you're in that class yet.
So we're going to go over this process for you all so that you know the steps and what you need to do in order to plan out your classes and then also enroll in your classes. So like step one, so you're going to log in with your PID and password. Your PID is the number that was given to you. It starts with an A. You've been using it to get into maybe like your student portal, TriLink if you've been on TriLink. It's just that number that starts with an A. And so you're going to plug in your PID and your password, and then it'll open up into WebReg. And so this PID and password just so happens to be corresponding to our friend Groot. And so we're going to be using Groot as our example, who is going to be enrolling in classes coming home.
So the next step is planning your classes, and the first step is you're going to have to pick the quarter that you're going to be enrolling in. So for example, Groot is going to enroll in the fall quarter 2019, which is going to be your first quarter as well. And so once he clicks fall 2019, he's going to click go. This page is going to come up, so you want to search for the class that you're going to be enrolling in. So whether that's the code, which is, for example, right here he's trying to enroll in Chem, so it's CHEM for Chem. And once he does that, then he'll be able to search for the class that he needs. And there are some advanced search features that come with WebReg, just in case you have any specifics that you do want to look up. So like I said, Groot looked up CHEM for Chem, but if you wanted to add more details to that search, you can click under Search for Classes. There's a tab that says Advanced Search, and that'll take you to this page. This page pretty much allows you to add in any specifics like the subject, the department, the instructor, the section ID, the title, or even just the day of the week that the class is offered in. And this pretty much helps just because, say for example, I have a professor in mind that I want to take a class from, but I don't know what classes they're offering. I can just look up the professor and a whole list of their classes will show up because that's how I searched it, and it's a specific search.
There's also this thing called the catalog feature. The catalog feature is really nice because if you're looking for a class and you're interested in it, but you don't necessarily know what it's about, the catalog feature gives you that brief description of what the class is about. And so when you click on catalog right there where it's circled, it'll open up to this page and it'll give you that brief description. And not only that, it will show you the units that the course is worth, and then also if it has any prerequisites or recommended courses. So some courses might have prerequisites, and you're going to have to take those classes before you enroll in that class that you want to get into, because it prepares you for that class. Like you can't necessarily, unless you have like some sort of like petition to get into the class, you're going to have to take those prerequisites before entering any course that may have prerequisites.
Yeah. And the number that's in the parentheses is the number of the units that's for that class. So like Chem 6 CH, which is Honors General Chemistry 3, has 4 units because there's a 4 in parentheses. So when you actually enroll in the class, what you're going to do is you're basically going to search the class, and then you're going to click on the class that you want. So once they searched up Chem, all of the chemistry classes showed up, and so Groot wants to enroll in Chem 6A, so you're going to click on Chem 6A, and then these tabs are going to show, which are the sections. Just to clarify, every single student in that class will attend lecture, but everyone has a different section. A section is pretty much a small condensed classroom where the TA or the teaching assistant will go over any extra material or cover things that they went over in class. And if you notice, the lectures are all Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for all 3 of the options, but the discussion sections are very different. So one of them is Monday at 12 p.m., another one is at Monday at 4 p.m., the other one is Monday 3 p.m. So the discussion section, you want to pick whichever one works best with your schedule, and then also make sure that you pick the one that you that you know that you're going to be able to attend. So just keep that in mind when you're planning an enrollment. So yeah, so you're going to click the enroll button, and then that's when you're going to get this next pop-up, which is your grading option.
And so the grading option is essentially if you want a letter grade or pass or no pass. So letter grade is A, B, C, D, F, and so that affects your GPA. But then pass no pass is essentially if you get a C minus or better in the course, you do get a pass. But it does not affect your GPA. Now, with that being said, you can't take all your classes pass no pass, or else you're just gonna have a 0.00 GPA, and that's a little weird. So we cap it off at 25% of your units can be taken pass no pass. That being said, also you cannot necessarily go about like, oh, I have to take a general chemistry course and I don't necessarily want it to affect my GPA because I'm not good at chemistry. So, but it's for my major, so I'm just gonna take it pass no pass. Talk to an advisor first to see if you can take that course pass no pass, because some major requirements do require you to take courses letter grade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So essentially, just to reiterate, letter grade A, B, C, D, F. It affects your GPA. Pass no pass, get a C minus or better, and you get the units, but it does not affect your GPA. Usually, pass no pass is for like general education or like any electives that you might take that you don't really want to stress about when you have like a bunch of major courses that you're taking. But it is capped off at 25% of your units. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? That's a little bit. No? All right, cool. So after you select your grading option, you're gonna click confirm. And so once you confirm that, a pop-up will come up again that says that you are enrolled in the class. And then at the bottom, it doesn't show here, but at the bottom it'll say send me an email confirmation. And we highly recommend that you always send yourself that email confirmation, because if any sort of system failure, malfunction, says that you're not enrolled in that class, you have that email saying that you did actually enroll on WebReg and that you're in the class and you have a spot. So we really recommend that you send yourself that email confirmation so that you have all the receipts of the classes that you're enrolled in.
Yeah, so there are some issues that could come up when you're trying to enroll in classes, and they're pretty simple, they're very easy to work around, so they're not going to be that hard to navigate. So one of them is going to be a prerequisite requirement not met. So for example, that man was trying to enroll in math, but he hadn't met the prerequisites. So that being said, a prerequisite, again, is another requirement that you need to do and you need to fulfill before you try to enroll. So for example, for a lot of the math classes here, you do need to either take a placement test or you need to take a course before it. So right here, this pop-up says that he hasn't satisfied the test or course prerequisites. So what he's gonna have to do is just basically satisfy those test or course prerequisites before he tries to enroll in this class. And basically how you can see if there's a prerequisite is on the right-hand side, there's gonna be a little pop-up that says prerequisites. And if you see that in any of the courses you're trying to enroll in, I would just click it anyway, just to make sure that you have all those requirements satisfied before you even attempt to enroll or plan that class. Just because you don't want to have to be in a class or you're mistakenly in a class without satisfying those prerequisites, and eventually you find out that you didn't get any units for it because you didn't satisfy the prior necessities. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then there's a thing called conflicting schedules. So Captain America was trying to enroll in Philosophy 13, but they were already enrolled in Chem 6A. Not all superheroes can be at two places at once. So he isn't able to be in Philosophy and Chem at the same time, so his schedule is conflicting. So that being said, he's either going to have to choose Chem or Philosophy to stay in, or he's just going to have to drop a class or just figure out another class to make his schedule work a little bit better, because his final exams also conflict. So you don't want to be able to miss any lectures and you don't want to miss any exams. So they're just going to have to work around this and figure out a different schedule for them.
On WebReg, there's this really cool feature called Calendar View. Calendar View is really, really useful because it allows you to see all of your classes and free time that you're going to be having per week. And so to get to the calendar view, once you log in and you click on the quarter that you are enrolling for, you're going to see a tab that says calendar. You're going to click on that tab, and then you'll see your calendar, but in order to actually see the calendar, you're going to have to plan your courses. And so this is where we said planning your courses and enrolling in your courses are very different, because you can plan it and not be enrolled if you don't click that enroll button. But to plan a course, essentially you're just going to find that section that you want to, and that you are hoping to enroll in. And so you're going to click the plan button all the way on the far right hand side, and then it'll come up, there will be a pop-up for the letter grade option again, and then it'll confirm it. And once you get all of your courses planned out for that week, this is just an example, it'll show up on your calendar view, and it'll show you all of the class times, where they are, what time they're at, and then you can see kind of what free time you have, what days you might have off. For example, group here has Thursday off, so you can see what kind of schedule you want, or you can kind of plan around different things if you have any clubs or organizations. A really cool feature also is once you plan all your classes, you can also see what finals you'll have for your final schedule during finals week. That's a lot of words, but so finals week, it'll show here also if you click on the finals tab, and we do just so you know, the finals dates and times they do not change, but the location might. So this is a set final schedule. But we suggest that maybe once it comes closer to finals week, you check on WebReg to see if the place or the location you're taking the test has moved or anything like that.
And professors are usually very understanding because they usually don't change the time or the date because of the fact that they know that students either book flights or have arrangements to go home after finals week, because after finals week we do have our breaks. That being said, finals week is a separate week after instruction. So our quarter system, how it works is 10 weeks of classes and instruction, and then 1 week of final exams as the 11th week. But during that final exams week, you're not going to be going to classes. On the calendar view, it just shows the exam time slots, and that's all you're going to have to attend to show up for your exam and leave. And then once that exam week is over, then you have a break. So just to reiterate, there are two separate instruction and final week.
Yeah, and so in order to see if you are actually enrolled in a course, if you're just planning the course and you're not enrolled in it, it'll be gray and clear, kind of like these boxes here. But then as soon as you click enroll and you confirm your enrollment, it'll turn into a navy blue color. And so that's how you'll know that you're actually enrolled in that course, or if you're just planning it without being enrolled. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you'll also have that email confirmation that says that you're enrolled. Again, you'll also have an email confirmation for planned courses, but make sure it says enrolled and that these boxes are navy blue, because that's how you know exactly that you're in that class now.
Alright, before we move on do we have any questions at all? No? Alright.
So our next activity, the date of your schedule is now in your hands. You got it. It's pretty simple, it's not that hard. If you have any questions that are unanswered, there's also a WebReg tutorial on the new student site. And it's available for y'all to be able to review if you want to during the summer. But moving on, we're going to go into a time management activity. Because we do want to reiterate that in college, your time is going to be used very differently than in high school. Because in high school, you have those set classes, maybe from 7 in the morning to 2 p.m. or something. But you have that big chunk of time, your lunch is scheduled. After that, you know that you need to go home or do whatever you need to do. But in college, your schedule is really up to you. You can eat whenever you want, you sleep whenever you want. If you want to go to class, you can, but we always go to class here. If you want to go to an activity or an event, you can go to wherever you want. No one is going to stop you because you have control of your own time. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to have boards. And these boards are going to have a set schedule of your classes. So the classes are going to be permanent. You can't move the classes around. But everything else is up for you to decide. Your orientation leaders will be there if you need advice or if they have any suggestions, because again, there's students that go to school here. But other than that, you're going to plan your schedule. You're going to plan when you're going to sleep, when you're going to eat, when you're going to go to an activity. Just anything that you want to do during the day, you'll plan it. But your OLs will kind of just be monitoring it, but it's going to be up to you to solve that. But for the most part, it's a pretty helpful activity.